We're at our cruising flight level of 230, so we will put the TCAS 2 below. There we go. And now, since this is a short flight, we only have 103 nautical miles till our top of descent into Munich. We can already start with some preparations for landing. So we will check the waypoints in the legs page. We already checked on the ground the arrival, so now final approach fix is Gudek. Gudek at 5,000 feet. From Gudek to final intercept 26 right. Runway 26 right. For the missed approach, it is 261. Runway track, basically 1 mile, 1900 feet or above, whichever is later, and then a right turn inbound Mike, climbing 5,000 feet. That is checked, perfect. Go to the red nav page, and the ILS frequency should be 108.7, and it's currently in park. So it should read an A later on for automatic tuning. We can try to tune the Mike NDB for Munich. Let's see if he will accept this. 426. And I will put this on ADF left. And yeah, maybe he will also take the free letter identifier Mike India Quebec. Nope. So only frequency. So 426 on both sides. Perfect. Then we will go to our progress page, and we now have 24,000 pounds in the tank, and we are scheduled to arrive with 20.2, so 3,800 pounds, 3.8 pounds less basically. So now it is time to subtract. So we got 390.6 and we're minus 3.8, and that gives us a estimated landing mass of 386.8, and we put it here into the gross weight, and we're scheduled with flaps 25, 133, and we're going to add 5 knots additional for a wind corrective. So our approach speed will be 138. So this is set. We can erase this fix, and we can put Munich in here. (25 nautical miles). For reference, go to legs page, and I can show you the off-path descent. So we can copy Gudek, go to the VNAV, go to the descent page, off-path descent, paste it in here, and now I can display an off-path descent, and you can see this blue line here. This is basically indicating us at the start of the blue line, if we commence our descent here, we can reach Munich without any additional drag if we would proceed directly to the runway. Excuse me, not to the runway, but to this point at 5,000 feet. That is what it's telling us. So it is a good reference if you expect vectors to ask for a descent right around the blue line here, instead of the top of descent, which could be further down, since sometimes you have to put in a gigantic arrival, which in most cases you will not fly. So the off-path descent helps you with your descent planning. But we can talk about this later on. There will also be a drag ring in case you get high, and it is indicating, the white ring will indicate you that you still are able to reach this point, but now you need drag, for example, with the speed brakes. Okay, so ILS 26 right, excuse me. We got minimums 1650. So we turned the baro to 1650. Almost. So 1650, come on. There we go, we got the minimums set as well. Alright. And we would, of course, calculate the performance. But this tool is not that nice, I have to say. So 26 right. I can import aircraft details. The weather was when it's calm. Standard day, 15 degrees. Munich is a little bit higher, so 13 degrees. Standard pressure. So now we have calculated our descent distance, and we need 6,100 feet with auto brakes 3, no credit from the reverser, and no non-normals. So auto brakes 3, and I will check here our chart coming into 26 right, and we should be able to vacate via Alpha 6. Let's check auto brakes 2. Yeah, that makes even more sense. So we need roughly 7,200 feet for Alpha 6, so we can take auto brakes 2, so we don't wear out the brakes too much. Okay, there we go. We calculated our landing performance, so we know we're able to land in Munich, and now we wait until we can descend. After the setup is complete, we can do the descent checklist. So we check the recall. There's no failures, no open items, so recall is checked. Nodes are checked. Auto brakes 2. Landing data is flaps 25, speed 133, and minimums 1650 is set. Approach briefing. Consider it complete. Descent checklist completed. So for the descent planning in a standard common way without any help of the aircraft would be flight level 230 times 3, so 60 plus 9, 69, and we have to reduce our speed. So I will plan another 10 miles, so 79 miles from the airport. I want to start our descent, and you can see our distance to go is 107. So this gives me more than 25 miles until I would have to commence my descent. And we can see our blue off-path descent line is coming in soon, so we can ask for a descent shortly. And the VNAV calculated top of descent is 30 nautical miles if we would fly the whole thing. And we're already past the blue line. You can see the white line indicating the drag line for the descent. So I'm going to turn down the altitude, and the airplane will do nothing since it is on the VNAV path and we do not have reached our top of descent. At top of descent it would automatically descend, but since I want to get down earlier, I will press the altitude selector, and you can see throttle, VNAV speed, and now we're descending in VNAV speed, meaning the VNAV pitch is targeting our airspeed of 296, and we're descending to flight level 140. And now it is going to hold, meaning I can manipulate the throttles, so I can add power or I can reduce power. And of course, if I reduce power, my descent rate will increase, and if I add power, my descent rate will decrease. So now I can basically manipulate my own descent profile. And you can see it's a clear day, no clouds. Perfect weather for some flying. So now I switch to flight level change, so throttle flight level change, and this is a pitch mode. So the aircraft is pitching for 296 knots. So if I increase the speed, the pitch will go down and we will descend faster. At least that's what you should do. Yeah. So now we're in throttle hold, and now I can manipulate the throttles again. Okay, this is very slow. But now you can slowly start to see that the airplane is pitching further down, and the descent rate is increasing because I increased our airspeed. And I will turn this to flight level 100. And we are already on a downwind for runway 26 right. So we basically expect to track along here and then turn into the final via vectors. And if I want more descent, because we are already past or within the drag line, I can extend some speed brakes. And now the descent rate will increase even further, and you can see the green banana. It is also good for reference. The green banana indicating the point where we're going to reach flight level 100. So just before the airport, we are at flight level 100. Yeah, this is a pretty excessive descent rate. It's still within the limit, but I'm not sure if it would descend that fast. So speed, and it's already captured the altitude because we're about to level off. So I will retract the speed brakes. Now the airplane is accelerating. Yeah, almost getting into an overspeed. So the speed brakes out again. So it seems like the aircraft is a little bit sensitive here regarding the flight level change and descent modes. So if I hit VNAV, it should, VNAV out, and it should reduce our speed to 240 knots here in a second, because we got a speed restriction 250 below flight level 100, and Boeing gives the aircraft by default 240 below flight level 240. So if I turn down to flight level 70, and we're in VNAV out, so the airplane will not descend further, and I hit this, it should go into VNAV speed, actually not VNAV path. Yeah, this makes no sense. It should be in VNAV speed and it should be already descending. So I go to flight level change. I will turn the speed to 250, so we do not exceed our limitation. I can take some help with the speed brake. So throttle hold. And there's many different modes. We can also use vertical speed. So speed, vertical speed. The speed commanded by the throttles is 250 knots. And we should establish a descent rate of 1,200. That makes it easy to calculate for a descent. So clear it down to 5,000. So altimeter set QNH. And we want to do the approach checklist. So altimeters QNH 1013 set, passing 8,400. Approach checklist complete. Cabin is ready. Excellent. And it's having a hard time with the speed because the airplane is very aerodynamic. So just a little bit of speed brake will help with that. And we can go to the fixed page, and we see our direct distance would be 13 miles to the runway. But since we're expected to fly straight and then come around, we have a little bit more time. And we can already go to heading select in case they would vector us. Yeah, hard time with the speed. Going to reduce to 240 here. But we need some speed brakes. Not full. It's already increasing thrust again. And now will give us a vector for base. Retract speed brakes, and we can extend the center line out of Gudek. Gudek in here, final approach course 261. We hit that, execute, and now we have a reference line. And now we'll start to slow us down here. So I will reduce our descent rate. That helps with decreasing the speed. And now we are almost on a base leg. Take some speed brakes. Flaps 1. Set the flaps 1 speed. Oops. Put myself here on an intercept heading. Arm the localizer. It has already captured the localizer. You can see this is the localizer. And this is the glide slope. So we are on the localizer. I can hit the approach mode. So the glide slope is armed. And we got 5 miles till our descent point. So we hit red nav again, and now we can see the frequency with an A, so it's auto-tuned. And we check the actual weight as of right now, and the flap speed is 133, and that is the same. So we're all set. And before we intercept the glide slope, I want to be at flaps 5 because the airplane will accelerate. Otherwise, if we descend with flaps 1, it will even accelerate with flaps 5 because it's very slick, similar to the 7.5. So 1 dot of deviation with the glide slope, Glide slope is moving in. Flaps 5. Flaps are going to 5, so I will slowly reduce the speed. And we're about to capture the glide slope. There we go, glide slope is captured. Missed approach altitude 5,000 feet is set. And you can see now the airspeed will start to increase, because descending and losing speed is almost impossible unless you have a lot of drag. We're 10 miles out from the runway, so we have some time to configure the aircraft. So airspeed is increasing even further. We could go flaps 15 if you're bothered by the speed increase. So flaps 15, maximum speed is 215. So we can do that. Speed check, flaps 15.
2,500.
2,500. We can turn the speed down to the flaps 25. Excuse me, to the flaps 15 or flaps 20 speed, which is the same. And even now it's having a hard time to get the speed down. So very aerodynamic. It's almost the same like the 757. The airplane is bigger. So approaching 6 miles and 2,000 feet, I'm going to drop the gear down. Flaps 20, which is the same speed. And now the speed is slowly coming down. Arm the speed brakes. Let's check what the maximum speed for flaps 25. It's 185, so we can go flaps 25, and we can set our final approach speed of 138. And now with drag, gear down, flaps 25, you can see the speed is coming down. Not too fast, but it's coming down. We can see land free, rollout flare, meaning all available autopilot channels are working and we can perform a auto land. And the flare and the rollout is in armed, so the airplane should flare automatically at around 45 feet and the rollout should be engaged at around 5 feet to keep on the runway center line. So landing checklist is completed. 1,000 feet above
1,000.
the airfield, we are stable. We're on glide slope, on localizer, we are on speed. The power is in a stable region and we are fully configured with the landing checklist. If we are clear to land, we put the lights on and we're tracking down the runway. Now we're just monitoring for any kind of deviation. This bar is representing our minimums, but we are visual anyways in a bad weather day. This would be, minimums are the point where you have to fly a go around if you do not see the runway lights or the runway environment, which we clearly do today. Now we would go around if the airplane would become unstable,
Approaching
or
minimums.
if there would be an aircraft on the runway, obviously. Then we just hit the go-around switches and fly a go-around.
Minimums.
And I'm gonna let it land here automatically so I can talk a little bit more.
100.
So you can see the radio altimeter reading
50.
down 50 over the threshold,
30.
flare, arming,
20.
idle,
10.
and rollout should engage here any second. There we go, rollout. Spoilers are out. Let's see if I can get... Oh, come on. Reversers. And I'm going to perform manual brakes. 60 knots, reversers back to idle. And I will disconnect the autopilot. Alright, and we made it to Munich. So now we're just trying to get off the runway here. Next exit. Try to reduce to taxi speed. There we go, we take the exit. After crossing the bar, we are clear of the runway, but you have to keep in mind the airplane is pretty long, so we have to keep rolling a little bit further until we are actually clear of the runway environment. So we're at Alpha 4. So it was a little bit longer for the landing, but since there was no traffic, it is okay. So I'm just gonna set the parking brake here, go through the flows after landing. So you would put the lights off, landing lights, runway turn off lights, the strobe light off, start the APU, flight directors off, auto brakes off, and it says auto throttle disconnect, so we'll hit it twice, and we'll put the flaps up here in a second, and this goes back to XPDR, and you could set the trim to, on the 7.5 we set it to 4 degrees, or to 4 units. On the 7.6 we set it to 2. I'm not sure about the 777. Maybe some of you will know it and you can put it down into the comments. I will just put it here to 5. Alright, and then we would retract the flaps. After landing, flows are completed, so now we taxi back to the gate. So we're just heading here for Alpha 4, and then we should turn left onto November. Exactly, November is the second one. And clear left, clear right, going left. And we're heading back for the gate. So on a long taxi back to the gate, you can shut down an engine. So I'm gonna shut down the right engine. The other pilot would confirm it. And now we're doing a single engine taxi to save some more fuel. You can see APU is running. That is good. And now we're just going back to the gate. Okay, Alpha 9 or November 3 to the right, so we're going to November 3. Clear right. coming to the apron here. And of course you switch off the weather radar before you are coming back into any congested areas with people and ground equipment. Okay, we're gonna turn in here. All right. We'll put the lights off if there's a marshaller, so we don't blind him with our bright lights. And there would be a guiding system or a marshaller indicating to us how much forward we have to pull. I'm just going to set the parking brake here, and we'll check again. APU is running, so we can cut off the engines, and after we have done that we can turn off the hydraulics, fuel pumps, anti-collision light, take all the lights off, hit the status page and put the transponder to 2000. And back to standby. Now we can turn it to above for the next crew. And we are back at the gate. I hope you enjoyed this video with the 777. Please like, share and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Thanks for watching, and see you guys along.